Sometimes the best way to understand a whole era is to look at the life of just one person. Today, that person is Elizabeth Sovereen. Her story, it's just this incredible window into the strength, the sorrow, and the sheer resilience that defined pioneer women back in the 19th century. So let's dive into her story.
And this really gets us to the heart of it all. What was it really like to be a mother on the American frontier? Through Elizabeth's life, we're going to see a world defined by both incredible joy and, well, almost unimaginable hardship. All right, so where does her story even start? Well, it begins in the early 19th century. This was a time of constant movement in America, with families always pushing forward, always searching for a new life. Elizabeth Putman was born way back in 1820, out in rural New York. But the moment that really changed everything for her came in the 1830s. Her family made this huge decision to just pack up everything they owned and head north into what was then called Upper Canada.
And she was definitely not an only child. Elizabeth was the fourth of 8 kids. Can you just imagine that? A pioneer home in the early 1800s just buzzing with that much energy? For sure, this big, close family was the center of her entire world. Now that move to Canada, that wasn't just a change of address. It was the beginning of a whole new life, one that was going to be shaped by the challenges of the wilderness.
They ended up settling in Norfolk County, a farming area right on the north shore of Lake Erie. And listen, this wasn't some simple move. It was a massive act of courage, a promise to build a whole new life, completely from scratch in a brand new country.
So when she was 20 years old, on March 3, 1840, Elizabeth married Alexander Sovereen. Their life together was really built on 2 main things. Just relentless, back-breaking hard work. He was a farmer and later an innkeeper, and their shared deep Baptist faith. That faith would become the absolute bedrock for their family.
And this brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most powerful and demanding chapter of Elizabeth's entire life, her experience as a mother.
14. Just let that number sink in for a second. 14. Elizabeth gave birth to 14 children. It's a staggering number, and it completely changes how we think about the physical and emotional load she carried.
And this wasn't just a short phase of her life. It went on for 27 years. For almost 3 decades, from the time she was 20 until she was 47, her life was this constant, unbroken cycle of pregnancy, childbirth, and raising infants. But with so much new life came so much loss. And honestly, this is the hardest part of her story to even talk about. Frederick died when he was 3. Rosella Elizabeth didn't even make it to her first birthday. Aunt Anne was gone at 2. Rachel was just 15 months old. And Rosalia, one of her twins, died the very same day she was born. That kind of relentless grief is something that's almost impossible for us to wrap our heads around today.
And that's what makes her story so vital. Because as personal as her pain was, it wasn't unique. This constant dance between incredible joy and absolutely crushing loss, that was just a shared reality for so many women of her generation. Child mortality was a tragic, everyday fact of life.
So how in the world did this family keep going? Well, we can actually watch them build their lives over the years by looking at old census records, and they paint this fascinating picture of just how they adapted and survived. Okay, check this out. In 1851, they're farmers, but by 1861, they've pivoted. Alexander is an innkeeper. Super smart move, right? A way to get another income stream. Then, a decade later, they're back to farming, but now her brother Peter is living with them, helping out. By 1881, it's a multi-generational house with a granddaughter living there too. And get this, in 1891, Alexander is 76 years old and he's still out there farming. So what's the big takeaway from all that data? Well, it's a story of pure grit. The Sovereen family just rolled with the punches. They adapted, they worked like crazy, and they relied on each other. Parents, kids, siblings, grandkids, the whole shebang, just to make it through.
And all of this brings us to the final chapter of Elizabeth's life and the incredible legacy of resilience she left behind. The heartbreak didn't stop when her children were little. Elizabeth would also outlive some of her adult kids, losing her daughter Mary Jane at 33 and Valzoria at just 21 years old. And yet, she kept going, living all the way to 75. Her husband Alexander lived even longer, passing away at the incredible age of 92.
And this right here, this might be the most powerful number in her entire story, 27. After burying so many of her own babies, Elizabeth had at least 27 grandchildren.
Her family line didn't just survive all that hardship, it thrived. It's a true testament to the life she built against absolutely staggering odds.
In the end, Elizabeth's life really is the definition of the pioneer spirit. It's a story of quiet courage, of a faith that wouldn't break no matter what, and a kind of perseverance that literally helped build a nation out of the wilderness. You know, Elizabeth's story was pieced together from old records, but the human truth it tells is timeless. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Whose stories of incredible resilience and strength are just sitting there, waiting to be told in your own family's history?